going on, everybody, and welcome to the 92nd episode of the Hot Takes podcast. We got a very special episode for you guys today as we are once again doing another spotlight interview. Love these interviews. I say it all the time. Love having different type of guests on to talk about their craft and everything like that. Let me introduce the people that I have with me right now. Of course, my co-host with me, Luke Gans. Thank you for being here, my man. And then we have our special guest today, Greg DAHL. Thank you for being here as well, my man.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, dude. So we're going to get into everything that you do, everything that you've done. We know you got a little TikTok famous a little bit over there, so we're going to get into that. We're going to get into all the fitness training and, of course, your podcast as well and what you're doing in school, basically. So basically covering all the grounds with it. So to start off, I would like to ask you, when did you start working out? And then a follow-up to that, when did you start taking it seriously, almost as like, and is a profession?
So it all revolved around basically just baseball. And I've played baseball until I finished undergrad this past May. So starting probably 7th, 8th grade, doing more it's like speed and agility kind of training, medicine ball, sprints, stuff like that, more sports specific training. And then as I went to St. Mary's High School in Rutherford, we had a kind of our own place I think it's Lyndhurst actually, called Fast. And that's more of all the St. Mary's athletes kind of went there. So that was more like home to us for our training facility and stuff like that. So going from there, it's also a CrossFit gym. So I kind of got introduced to that in the beginning. So it was I would stay after the original speed and agility workout and then kind of crossed over into my CrossFit phase where I was obsessed with that for 2-3 years. And then probably going into my senior year of high school, I kind of transitioned out and just went to a regular gym and started doing my own thing. And tried to do the same speed and agility, but you can't really sprint into a commercial gym if they don't have like a track or treadmill. It's different than just a regular turf. So I kind of caught myself doing more kind of just stationary like bodybuilding workouts, and then going from 80% bodybuilding and 20% accessory to just all bodybuilding. And it was still, even now I'm still so far like not even really, really deep into bodybuilding. So you can just imagine how far out I was at that point. But I was learning at some guys, following some people on Instagram, and kind of just learning so much knowledge on YouTube and all that stuff that, you can find so much information on YouTube on anything. So with that, going into college, it was strictly pretty much on our own for training for baseball and just in general. So as that went on, I got more serious. I got a little stronger, a little bigger, and I was able to do more things with that strength and just gains in general. And then going into probably my junior year was when I was really into specific guys and specific divisions in bodybuilding and getting into posing and actually trying to follow actual workouts. And then I went to a gym that was a bodybuilding gym. And it's different starting in high school when you see like a regular gym and just regular people who are just there just to stay healthy and just get in shape, stuff like that. But the gym I'm at now, it's pretty much any hour you go, there's a guy who's a competitive bodybuilder who's much larger than I am, who's probably, 250, 260, going crazy in the gym. So it's when I started seeing that, I think another jump went up into, I guess, how good I was in the gym. And that's when I started to see with my posing, with making friends who are bodybuilders and them giving their opinions to me. I was like, this isn't my plan A in my life right now, but I definitely want to push this as much as I can, and make it almost as a backup. even though sometimes I switch it in my head because of, how much.
You switch it all the time.
Yeah. But it's one of those things. I mean, there's a lot of examples where it just takes time. I'm not going to go from 200 pounds or 210 to 250 of just muscle in a month. It's the guys who are like that have been doing it for 6, 8, 10 years. And it's one of those hard pills to swallow that I know that if I just keep at this pace, keep eating everything, keep training hard, just
literally eating everything.
Yeah, it's literally, it's like I'm confident in myself that I could make this possibly a profession and be able to become my plan A, but it's so hard to declare it now and then just almost hope, because as you guys know, there's no guarantee in things, especially in a genetic based sport.
Yeah. And I'll really quickly preface this because people might not know how I know Gregory. So I'm dating Kayla. Kayla is Gregory's older sister. I've known Gregory now for close to 4 years. So like, just to kind of be a testament to that, number one, for his growth size wise and just his interest to learn. So like, just again, I feel like I'm tooting a lot of horns of a lot of the different guests that come on, but it's more deservedly so, because in Gregory's case, like, I know a lot of people that commit to something for like a couple weeks, right? It's like we all had that phase where we went to the gym for like 2 months straight and we're like, yo, we're cutting, yo, we're bulking, yo, we're doing whatever, and then you stop and life hits in. But like, the one thing I can attest is like Gregory has always kept his performance being number one for him. And, Gregory, I was going to really quickly bring up just like your baseball path, kind of really quickly give us like a synopsis on it, because like, obviously I know it and you've been playing since you were, however old.
Yeah.
But when you got to college, baseball was the main focus. And then I feel like it wasn't that baseball wasn't the main focus, but I think you almost realized that baseball was there. You play, you were good. You used it as a great foundation for building your schedule of like your daily schedule, building it around class.
Routine, yeah.
Yes, your routine. But kind of talk about how you went from baseball as number one to then baseball is kind of number 1B, because then lifting became, lifting and eating and, that became kind of your life from that point.
Yeah, so probably towards the end of my junior year, with it being cut short with COVID and everything, I kind of had the same mindset as going into my senior year, where I knew, like, I almost actually didn't play my senior year, but I figured I went, 14 years playing or whatever it was. Might as well just get the senior day for my parents, this and that. So I knew, because of how dedicated I wanted to be with the gym, food and training and everything was going to be just that much harder. But that being said, I knew that when I was going to be done playing, I wouldn't be, the very, like, sad after I played it all my life. I'm going to be sad and this and that. But I knew that bodybuilding was going to be there to like fill that void. So I almost knew that I wasn't going to go to the majors. I mean, it was pretty obvious when I went to a D3 school. It's even D1. It's obviously very hard to go to the next level. So I was realistic with that. I was like, I have 4 more years to play, 3 to 1 years. I have 3 months to play. So I knew that. And then going into the bodybuilding, I was like, no matter when I have to get up for a tarp pull, when I have to do 3-hour practices, hour conditioning in the middle of the day, clean the field, do this, I have to have my 6 meals. I have to go to the gym, which thank God was 24 hours. And it really, I showed myself how much I really wanted to bodybuild when the end of the season playoffs, we had to go all the way down to Virginia and play. And I literally brought a 3-foot bag of like 7 meals. And I was like, I'm good for, I was like, we're going to be there from Friday midday to like Saturday night. I was like, I'm covered for those days. I don't need to, go to a hotel. And I was like, and those 2 days I was like, and that's when I was cutting. So I was like, I can't miss a meal. I can't do this. I need to eat as much as I could. That's like healthy food or healthy food. That's what I made.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like I could have easily just had the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches the parents brought, or the just oranges and just soda and this and that. But and I just had to eat the amount of time I had to eat cold food on the bus and just stale rice and just cold chicken. And I was like, but it's funny. The guys were like, chicken and rice. And I was like, chicken and rice. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like just part of it. I tell people when they try to get into it, you say like the 2 weeks, like I'm going to cut this and that. It's like with learning stuff, like I mentioned, it's YouTube. I learned so much from YouTube, and it's like the first 3 weeks, 2 weeks, that's the hardest part. It's just like if you're getting up early, and you have to get up for a long time. The first 2 weeks are the hardest part. Then it's just like, all right, I have to get up at 6. Let's go. It's routine.
Just becomes a routine. Yeah. And the one other thing I would say too is that I feel like two things that you fell into very luckily with this were, one, the pandemic itself, because you were on the track of kind of being in that motion of doing it. And it's almost like when the pandemic hit, it was kind of like a blessing in disguise for you, because you did have a sour taste with baseball where it's like, listen, I love baseball. It's still my thing. But you had a second love where, I mean, you had 50 other kids on the baseball team that, like, listen, they had other stuff to do, but they're like, I'm not playing, dude. We're not playing. We're not practicing. And it's like, you're like, no, I'm good. Yeah. Like you're just curling 225 in the gym. You're like, I'm straight. But I mean, the other thing with it is, just like your plan of attack with it, I think, was the fact that like I said, with COVID being a blessing in disguise, baseball was also that blessing in disguise for you, where you were so committed to baseball for so long, like with your, like your family and how committed they were to it, your sister, how like everyone was so committed to it. So when this almost fell out, you're like, well, it's fine. Like you said, with COVID, I have something to fill the gap. And bodybuilding just became that thing. And you're like, all right, I'm good at this. I'm good. Like, we're good here. Let's go, pick on. But yeah.
I also think too, because you were playing baseball for so long, I'm sure there was gym sessions like before or after practice and whatnot with the team and everything like that, right? So like, that's probably, is that how you were introduced to the gym at first?
Yeah. That's what it was, starting with the team directly, starting probably in high school in that facility in Lyndhurst.
So I think that's like one of the beauties of playing a sport in high school and whatnot, because you do stuff like that, and you just get fit and everything like that. You mentioned before it's like the first 2 weeks that it's like the hardest, and then you start to get the ball rolling and everything like that. Explain like what did it take for you to stick with it, and what does it take for you to stick with it now to stay that determined, to stay that focused? What motivates you the most with all this?
Yeah, please tell us, because I'm still trying to figure it out, because this man has...
asking for a friend as in myself. I need to know.
I need to know.
Well, there's probably 2 or 3 answers I could give. In my sense, since I want to compete, the easy answer is I don't want to suck. So I have to eat all my meals, train hard. For a non-competitive, it's hard, because you could say, oh, I want to be healthy, but there's so many other ways you could be healthy. So I don't want to give a blanket answer, but it's like so I'll give an example. Once I started doing this for 2 months, 4 months, a year, this and that, I started to realize that my body started to just function just like so smooth, and like it's weird, but like I knew when I was gonna go to the bathroom, when I was gonna eat, how much I could eat, and now I have like a notes on my phone. I'm like, all right, foods I can't eat, because I figured out that, and foods I can eat, and I figured out that what works for me, what doesn't, so I can avoid things, and it just makes me feel just so much better. It's one less thing to kind of worry about when you're out to eat, or just if I'm eating at 3 o'clock and I'm going out to whatever, go bowl with friends at 4, I'm not going to worry about, oh, my stomach's going to get upset because of something I ate that I usually don't eat.
Yeah.
So I guess there's like a practical reason for it. And then obviously if you're eating that much healthy food, it's going to be some positive effect on the body. And if you're working out, even if you're not working out as hard or as the same type of exercise as I'm doing, there's definitely a lot of good positive impacts that could happen to someone's life. So
yeah. And now I really quickly want to ask you before we pivot to some other questions. Enlighten some people on this podcast. Give us, if you can think of 5 foods that people think are healthy that are not healthy, or fads that they think are good for them that are actually not. Just to get some people that think an acai bowl is killing it.
well, yeah, we'll start with that. Yeah, acai bowls. Actually, since I drove down to Belmar today to lunch with my parents, and we saw like 2 or 3 pliables.
Yeah.
And say there's like 30 things on the menu. There's probably like 4 that are actually healthy. And it's like they have, well, obviously the obvious Nutella is not good. Peanut butter is less, but still not. It has fat, obviously. There's probably only a few that have like the shaved coconut, the fruits, which will be high in sugar, but it's like natural sugar.
Yeah.
What else they have? Depending on I guess it's called the acai, but depending on which one they have, it's probably different in calories. And it's weird because it's one of those places you have the calories, you can like look it up. So like you can know which one's the best, which one's the worst. And people are like, no, I still want the one that's 1,100 calories.
The one that is 1,500 calories. It's my lunch. It's like, what? That's your lunch? Like you have 500 calories left.
Yeah. Another one that came to mind right away, which isn't too unhealthy, but it's kind of like a fad now, you said. It's like the Rice Krispie treats before a workout. And people do that because I'm sure there's a little bit of sodium in it, and the carbs, there's like, it's just cereal. So it digests really quickly. So it gives you that pump in the gym. But I think I saw something yesterday. It's like the second ingredient is high fructose corn syrup. So it's like, we all know that's bad.
Which that shouldn't even be on there. Like, just for clarity, it's like, even if it's 11th, it shouldn't be on your food. Like,
no, yeah. I know there's actually, it was a TikTok, going back to that. It was a TikTok where it was a dietitian talking about what I just said. And then she gave like basically a cereal bar without that bad stuff in it. So I was like, but if someone uses that just because it's not the Rice Krispies branding, it's like, nah, it doesn't work, man. No. It's like
everyone's got an excuse, right?
Yeah. But I think let's see. I'm trying to think. I mean,
it could even just be proteins if you want to talk about protein, because I know, I have an unhealthy protein. I'm the first one to say, like, I hit up Gregory. I'm like, hey, I'm going to buy this protein. He's like, all right, it's like not bad, but like, it's definitely not like good. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, I just bought it.
I mean, I feel like most of them on the market are not bad, but like you said, there's definitely ones that are better. Like I've been using probably since 8th grade, just like the regular Optimum Nutrition. And I think I used MHP, it was like a mass gainer. But stuff like the Ghost one, I think you got, which is not, like I said, not bad, but it's kind of the same thing. If you look at the ingredients, it's going to show, because of the flavoring, and it's like has like those crazy cookies and cream destruction or whatever those that they have. It's going to have this crazy artificial flavoring, this and that, and it's, I guess it probably isn't bad if your stomach can handle it. And mine probably can too, but I've been so used to this one I've had for a while that there's probably that 9 out of 10 chance that I might, get some bloating with it. But with that, it's like Optimum Nutrition, MHP, and then some of those are like the big brands. Redcon's another good one. And then some bodybuilders who made their own supplement companies, like Hostile is a good one. What's it called? Axe and Sledge is a really good one too. And those I started in Jacked Factory too, by the way. Those are the I forgot. I started using I started seeing those Hostile and Axe and Sledge, and those are ones that I'll probably switch to eventually, just because they test them themselves, like those bodybuilders, and they know that. And branching off kind of into like pre-workouts and stuff like that too. It's like they know what works. They know clinically with the research how much citrulline you're going to need, because some of these brands, they'll sell you like a 30 serving thing of whatever, and there's 3 grams of citrulline in it, but I'm pretty sure you need 6 to get the actual effect of that pump or that vasodilation. So it's like you're not going to take 2 scoops. You're not going to take 2 scoops of 400 milligrams of caffeine to have a heart attack just to get a pump. So it's like, it's so, I mean, that's business. They're nobody really looks. So it makes sense on their part, but it sucks.
The only other thing too, really quickly before we pivot to the next, is instead of foods, can you name any trends? Because obviously, like, I know Kayla talks about it all the time, and I know you're very big in it too. Like, just nutritional trends that people think are good, like a keto diet, again, where certain diets and certain things can work for people, but there's also ways to abuse it, and you can obviously, speak to that a little bit, or like what, there's probably a TikTok trend where people only eat apples all day, and they're like, this is how I gained 105 pounds and I'm 1% body fat, like whatever.
What about like that lemon water diet too? Like I've heard stuff about that too, like just
detox or something
for like a week or something like that. Yeah, I'm like, what?
Yeah, the whole detox thing is like, excuse me, the whole detox thing is, I mean, I feel like I've known a few people that have tried like to do a detox, tangerine, lemon, water, cucumber drink, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it just doesn't make sense to me. You're going to drink fruit infused water and it's going to flush your body full of toxins that may not even be there. You just might have indigestion or whatever it may be. And like, it's like, I just don't get it. Cause it's just like, if you put some logic into it, you're like, I'm going to drink 3 gallons of water today of cucumber, lemon, pickle, whatever. Yeah. It's like, that's going to cure you. And then it's going to make you feel worse because you're drinking so much water and not a lot of food. So then you're going to have to be in like bed rest because you're so like puffy from water. But it's like, oh man, but hopefully, I mean, I haven't seen that in a while. Hopefully it doesn't come back, but going with that keto diet, when I actually took a nutrition class this past spring, we actually talked about it, that and the Tom Brady diet.
Okay, the TB12.
The keto diet is mostly for people who are like severely overweight, or no, I wouldn't say severely, but who are overweight.
Yeah.
And that's really for people who don't know, it's to get your body to use the fats that you're eating because it's very low carb, and to get your body into ketosis, which is, instead of using carbs as energy, you're going to use the keto bodies from the fat you're eating as your energy source. So there's like a 2 to 4 day turnover when you feel like crap, basically, because your body is trying to just switch energy sources. Yeah. And then you start to feel a little bit better and then back to normal. But it's, first of all, hard to sustain because there's so many things there's not a lot of things out there, rather, that are strictly fat and protein and no carbs. And it's like, I feel like just like how if it's gluten free diet or something like that, it's going to be more expensive because it's going to be tailored to you. So if money's not really at the height of what you'd like, it's going to be hard to kind of maintain that. But I've only known about 3 or 4 people that have tried to do that. And like, it's either unsustainable like that, and then you see them like drinking beer, and you're like, that's not really how it works.
That's where you're switching. Yeah, that's where they're substituting it. They're like, I'll eat lettuce all day, but I'll have as many beers as I want. It's like,
well, no, it's not. Yeah, or have a cheeseburger with no bun. It's like, okay, well, you just had ground beef and cheese, which is disgusting.
With bacon on the side. But I think you kind of summed it up pretty well, where I feel like a very common theme in this podcast is us talking about the fact that most of society now, regardless if you're 80, regardless if you're 50, regardless if you're 15, is quick, right? Like, we've seen it with how big social media is and just all of our outlets, where everything is like, I want it done now, right? And I feel like it's the same thing with where, I mean, people see you and they're probably like, they'll blame it on genetics, steroids, this, that, right? They'll say, they're like, oh, quick fixes. And they're like, oh, well, they don't know that Gregory's been working technically since 4 years I've known you, since you were in high, so it's just funny to watch how people do that. And then the same thing they're doing is like, they're looking for quick fixes in their diet. It's like, well, you guys won't eat healthy, but like, you won't eat lunch, and then your dinner is like whatever, and then you drink all weekend, and it's because it's like, oh, well, I'm just prioritizing my meat. It's like, no, like these aren't quick fixes. Like all of this stuff takes time,
And it sucks because sometimes, like, say someone, I mean, this really hasn't happened for me. They're like saying like, oh, you're probably on steroids, or like they're talking themselves, and then they're like, well, if I want to look like that in 6 months, I have to take steroids.
Yeah.
So then we have a 16-year-old kid who starts taking SARMs, which doesn't work. That's not how it works. And they'll be like, I'll work out for like twice a week. And they're like, well, it's not working. I'm like, well, because you're not working. So it's kind of, it's a give and take.
Yeah. I'm just going to put steroids in my body, not work out that much, and just it'll work, right? It's like, that's not how that works, buddy. No. Oh my God. But that's how it is now.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's all about doing your research when it comes to diet and everything like that. Like, sure, the keto diet works for some people, but like for others, it might not work. Like, you gotta learn your body first, and then start doing your research on what kind of diet you want to do, what kind of workouts you want to do, because you don't want to just walk in there or do something without knowing anything. You're trying to help yourself, but at the end of the day, you might actually be hurting yourself. So I think that's a big aspect of it as well.
That's not to crap on the diet. If anyone's on it and is seeing progress, we're super happy. We're super
right. It works for people, but for some people, it works. Yeah, right. Exactly.
We do need more people to know that there's certain things that just aren't healthy, regardless of how you word it. You eating a 1,500 calorie pitaya bowl is just not healthy. We'll go back to that.
Yeah.
So Greg, are you a trainer at all? And if not, is that something you would like to do in the future?
I'm not. I've given like the advice to friends, this and that, but I don't have like CPT, I think it's called, or like a certification. I don't work in a gym or anything like that. Down the road, I've thought about it, but it's almost like I want to do it independently, just because people know what I do.
Yeah.
Like, I'll train them as a friend, as a client, but as a business, but I'm not going to go through all that schooling when I'm not going to use any of those or most of those tools. Besides probably nutrition wise, I would, because that's obviously valuable, but probably not the training way, just because, I don't know, just experience, I guess, has brought me to this point now.
Yeah. Right.
But who knows, maybe in 2 years, my answer is different and I'm training 20 people. So
it also, we'll talk about it later too, but it's different because of your profession. Like, your love for this is not that it's not a back burner thing. It really does sit very closely with now your master's that you're going, or your doctorate that you're going to get. Like, it sits basically hand in hand, but it's just that you don't need to go and put extra stuff on your plate because I think you already probably have a good amount there, to deal with. But one thing I really quickly wanted to ask was I personally know that, you haven't been in a competition specifically yet, but you did do your first prep for a show and then obviously one on your own kind of a thing. So I just, I thought you could break that down for me, break that down for us, and kind of explain how all that went.
So to go a little bit back, just quickly, it was with injuries, this and that, I was always bulking up. So getting as big as I can, lifting as heavy as I can. And every year was an injury. Then this year was the COVID. And then going back up again, I was probably the biggest I was 232, I think. And then probably June, I don't even know, June, April, probably mid-April, I started all right, I'm going to do a cut. So I think June 14th was my pretend show day in mind. So probably a few days before that, I brought food down. I was eating probably around 4,800 calories every day. And then basically, because my body was just running on that, I was just running on that. I was just I'll bring the carbs down. It was every 2 weeks I wanted to change something, at the beginning at least. So I would just bring the carbs down a little bit, bring the fat down a little bit, and then was doing really no cardio until my weight stopped dropping. So I was dropping probably 3 pounds I was dropping probably 1.5 pounds the first week, then 2, then a pound. It was just pretty steady throughout. And then I had to start adding some cardio in, same thing, starting low, just 20 minutes, 3 times a week, 30 minutes. And then I would break it up to 4 or 5 days a week just to not be in the gym for an hour, just walking on the treadmill or doing whatever. And then fast forwarding to when I was basically home for the last 3 weeks of it, I got down from 232 to 197. So I got really skinny.
It's a pretty big cut.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it was. And even seeing myself now, from now to when I was 230, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You don't notice it until you're not it anymore.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sloppy pulling over. I still probably had a 4-pack and I could still I was fine. I was playing outfield, so I had to have good endurance. I was running and stuff like that. But it's just a different look, different feeling. But with that, with the season, with training and everything, it definitely was hard. Until probably the end of May, with the week of graduation, I didn't miss a meal. I didn't have a cheat meal, nothing. I just had chicken, fish, beef, rice, vegetables, and oatmeal. That's really it.
Even at his graduation dinner, dinner at school, he had his own food. Maybe looked at a French fry for a little bit too long, or whatever it was. But I mean, this isn't just a facade. He's not lying. I can attest. He puts in he practices what he preaches when it comes to that. But and tell us about how it went, how it was, how you felt about just, again, you did it with your parents and, you kind of did it that way. What's the ultimate goal with it also?
So with bodybuilding in general, if usually bodybuilders are well, if I started this off season or ended this off season at 230 and I went down to round number 195 or easier number, next off season, I want to get to 235, 234, 240-ish, and then come down and try to be 200 or 198. So that kind of gives you a good sign that, did I put on muscle this off season?
Yeah.
Are the things I'm doing in the off season work? Then you can kind of go back and look back and see, maybe this food source isn't working, or this exercise I need to change out. And with that being said, this really being my first cut, legit tracking everything, doing everything cut, I was happy with it. Even when I was losing over 30 pounds, I didn't feel I felt tired for sure. The last 2-3 weeks, I was definitely more like a zombie, and things got to me a little quicker, or mentally did. I never did an outburst, but I was close. But you definitely feel it's really weird. Like watching all these guys, you see they're saying oh, I'm training harder than the fifth rep. I have no energy. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. They're tired, yeah. But then you experience it, and you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, now I get what they're going through, and it was fun for me because I usually lose weight very easily, so I'm used to eating a lot of food. And when I was going down and dropping all that food, I went from probably eating, like I said, 4,800 to 1,800 in the last week or two. So I was like, it's whatever. I mean, at this point, I just want to just eat whatever small portions I have, and then just work out, and then just relax, because no school, nothing, no job, so I could just do whatever I wanted that time period. But I was pretty happy with it. I have all the progress photos, all the progress I need to kind of go into this next off season that I'm in now, and basically minimally change anything. So it's just kind of, like I said earlier, just a waiting game and just to go through it.
Awesome. Yeah. Again, like you said, it's definitely it's been not a slow burn, but it takes time, right? Like you said, you did something, you started prepping for it basically in April and finished in June. Like people think it's like, oh, like you're gonna do it in a month. It's like, nope, that's not even that's not remotely close to how long it takes.
Yeah, and some guys who are professionals, if they're doing 2 shows, they'll do a 30-week prep, because if they have a show, say this past weekend that just passed, well, I'll have a show in 2 weeks, so I can't stop prepping. So that's an extra 2 weeks. And if they get and win that, go to the Olympia, it's another 5 weeks. So that's just 7 right there, plus the 18 they just did. So it mounts up.
Yeah.
So,
and Frank, I will let you know that this is one of my favorite stories to explain the cult of DAHL, as I'll explain it here. But so they're all they're all in very good shape. For the most part, I think your whole family has been in great shape for most of their lives, obviously, just up until this point in general. So it was very funny that when I first kind of got introduced, again, I know way too much about football, Marvel, and Star Wars, which is its own issue. And, I know my shit about certain shit that some people don't care about, whatever, and then sports or whatever. And I was fascinated when I found out that they watch the competitions that go on TV. Like we would watch a Sunday of football, kind of things like that. And my favorite story that I love to tell about this is because I still get roasted by her family to this day about it. They were watching a competition one time.
Oh, I think I know this story.
And there's a guy on the screen or whatever, and he's world famous. I'll have Gregory explain who he is and how he's famous, but his name's Jay Cutler. So they're talking about Jay Cutler, and I know a Jay Cutler from from football, who was a Bears quarterback and a Dolphins quarterback, and was just a reckless, he just did whatever he wanted in the 2010s, 2013 area, whatever. So they're talking about him. I'm like, oh, sick. You guys watching football this weekend or whatever? Is Jay Cutler playing? They're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, am I lost here? What am I missing? I'm like, Jay Cutler, the football player, right? And when I said that, they all looked at me and they were like, what?
Yeah.
No. And I was like, oh God. No. I was like, what did I miss?
Yeah. We were watching probably just some YouTube video of Jay Cutler, who is he won the Olympia 4 times, I think. So he was 300 pounds of just muscle on stage. And we're like, if you're interested in bodybuilding fitness, the name Jay Cutler, or probably more bodybuilding, Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
He's kind of turned into the Arnold of our era, where he's working out with younger guys just to get their name out, marketing this and that. So when he said that, we were like, no. We know what you mean, but no.
Get this guy out of the house now.
Yeah. And that was early. That was probably within the first year.
I think
you and her dating?
that might have been in like the first 6 months. Like I learned very quickly. I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta keep up with this a little bit better. Oh my God. And I would also really quickly say, like, obviously you know it, I know it, but like explain the Olympia a little bit because I know there is the lore around it. I don't know if Frank knows as much about it or if our guests do, but explain what that is, explain the hype behind that kind of a thing.
So, in bodybuilding, it's commonly referred to as the Super Bowl of bodybuilding because that's the biggest stage in the community, and it's basically the top competitors within each division. And you have men's physique, which is people might have seen, which is just like looks like just swim trunks and like beach bodies, and that's men's physique. And then you have the 212 division, which is just like wrestling, a weight cap. You can't be over 212. Then you have classic physique, which is my interest, and it's based off height, and there's a weight class based on that height. And then open bodybuilding, which is if you can be 300 pounds of muscle, you can be 300 pounds. There's no weight limit, nothing. You can just be as big and shred as you can. And then of course there's the women's side of it. I think it's bikini, figure, wellness, which is a newer division. Women's physique, and I think it's just women's bodybuilding. So there's a few more, and it's more like bikini shape, and then like bikini shape with like bigger legs, and then it's like open men's, but for the women's side, and then like an in between division, which is another division on the women's side. And basically, so if I wanted to compete in a local show, usually ones in like Teaneck around here and stuff like that, I win that, then you get moved on to like another show, and you have to win that, and then you get to like I think it's called just like a pro qualifier.
Yep.
And like usually it would be like North Americans because of our area. And then say you win that, then I believe that's just when you win your pro card. And then there'll be several pro shows throughout the year that the IFBB, which is the Federation of Bodybuilding, and they're going to set a schedule out, and you can kind of plan out your prep to compete at each show. And then if you win a show, you automatically are going to compete at the Olympia. But if you wanted to, just like some guys did this year, if you come second or third in the 5 shows in a row, based off the points you received from getting those placings, you're going to go to the Olympia.
Carry it over, gotcha.
Yeah. And like if there's guys who do the same thing, but he got second the last 2 shows and you got third, he might have 26 points, you have 20, and now he's going to go and you're not. So it's just like a leaderboard thing you have to check.
Like a
and then
point system now, yeah. That almost makes more sense though because of it. Because again, like I think it's something with just like when you have judges for anything, there's always bias, right? Like some judge is going to see something one way compared to another judge where they're going to see something another way. So it's like if you come in first and I come in second, but I thought I looked better or whatever, and then we enter the same amount of shows, and then I come in first, and like vice versa, it'll show off in the long run. It's like those points will add up because it's like that is really where the nitty gritty will show where where the person was right, where it was wrong, whatever it might be.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just explained it all for me, because what I was going to ask you, like, is it a ranking system, like, first place, second place? I had no idea, but you literally just explained, if not all of it for me. So I definitely have more of a clearer idea for it. Something I wanted to ask you was, you mentioned way back before, like you were looking at different Instagram accounts and everything like that of bodybuilders and everything. Who would you say is like your top 3 inspiration for bodybuilding?
I know he's number 1, so it doesn't matter. Like I know.
I'm looking at the poster right now. So number 1's for sure a classic physique competitor, Chris Bumstead. He's same thing, just like Jay Cutler. If you know bodybuilding, you're gonna know him. He's won the past 2 years, and he has like 3 million followers on Instagram. So he's fairly big.
He's a cool dude too. Like he just like, And
Yeah.
I feel like he's a guy that carries himself around with such size where it looks unnatural, but like, I don't know. Do you understand what I'm trying to say, Gregory? Like it fits his body type. Like he just like
he's one of those guys where like if he had a shirt and shorts on, you're like, oh yeah, he definitely works out. Like he definitely works hard and works out. But then when he like strips down and just has his underwear on stage, you're like, what? Just because his structure, it's like that's why he's been winning, because his structure is insane. He's wide shoulders, tiny waist, big legs. So it's just like you're just drawn to him. So he's probably the first. Second is probably within the past 2 years. Actually, the guy that goes to the gym. Actually, I'm wearing his shirt right now. Actually, Sean Clarita. He's a 212 competitor. He just won this past year, and I see him 3-4 times a week in the gym right here in Belleville. So it's definitely motivating seeing him. It's pretty surreal when you see a guy on your TV and then you see him, you're talking to him in the gym, and it's just like it's really weird, but like in a cool way. Because in the gym, you don't really, you're used to seeing your friends and stuff like that, but you don't really see a world champion who's known. The number 3, probably, I want to say this guy from New York, Sadiq Hadzovic, I think his name is. And he doesn't really compete anymore unless he may make a comeback. But he's like a men's physique, classic physique guy. I met last year actually in a gym in New York. So he's one of those guys. He's just really cool. Like Chris Bump said, just like chill, normal guy from New York who's also 5 million followers or whatever he has on Instagram.
Yeah.
So
it's really funny. I have a question for you after this, but one thing I will say, and I mean, you can probably also like clear it up. It's funny because this is a sport that a lot of people have the idea and the concept that like everyone's a douchebag juice head and that's it. Like just to be plain and simple, right? Like I'm not trying to disrespect anyone. That's just how a lot of outside people look at it. They're like, these are just guys on steroids who lift all day and that's it. But like, from what I've known with you, not only is obviously it a grueling process, like it's not something you just do overnight. It takes a lot of sacrifice and it takes a lot on your body and your mental state and all of that. But like, I mean, there's a ton of really nice dudes from what I understand from it. Like, I know you've met a ton of people in the industry that like, you're like, yeah, they're everyday people. Like, I know your dad is good friends with one of the guys that literally lifts.
Yeah, it's the guy Sean. Yeah.
Yeah. Literally,
like,
Frank, like good friends, like not good friends, but like, you know, every time he's at the gym, him and his dad chop it up for what, 20 minutes.
It's a good story. It's when he won, he came back, he had the trophy and everything, and there was like a line for like photo ops and stuff like that. And I was still at school. So my dad goes and the guy Sean goes, "Oh, how's your son? How's school going?" It's like the amount of people he sees every day, social media, in the gym. And he's like, and when I came back to the gym, he goes, "Oh, welcome back." It's like the little things that are so like minute to us or to him, really. It's like they recognize and they remember, and it's like that's why they're so likable.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, not to say we're nobodies, but like for them to remember someone like that, and then again, like them to remember someone like you that does aspire to do that, because I feel like so many times people tell you like never meet your heroes kind of a concept, because like they end up being a douchebag or an asshole or whatever. Yeah. But like it's great and it's reassuring to hear in an industry that you're interested in, everyone's not an asshole. You know, that's always a positive there.
Yeah.
The one other question I was going to ask you, just to stick on these numbers and stuff, give me your Mount Rushmore of bodybuilders all time. So just doesn't have to be categories, just your GOATs, the top 4, you're looking at them in the Swole Olympics. They got a monument up, beautiful, it's glistening, full body poses, everything.
So personally, the first 2 right away, Ronnie Coleman and Dorian Yates.
Okay.
Ronnie Coleman probably he's more of a mainstream meme, if anything.
Yeah.
Dorian Yates, just if you see how he's trained on YouTube, you'll understand. And he's won 7 times the Olympia, and Ronnie Coleman 8. So it's like insane. Probably the third would be, I want to say Sean Ray.
Okay.
No, I'll say Sean Ray. I'm picking Ronnie and Dorian for like training and all that motivation stuff. Sean Ray because I like his posing and he was good, obviously too.
Yeah.
Then probably 4 because the obvious, Chris Bumstead. Even though he's not an old school guy like they are, it's just how much I look towards those guys. It's like can't really pick anybody else.
I was just about to ask that.
That's true. Damn. Sometimes the most obvious picks you don't think about. Damn.
We could technically put Arnold on his own Mount Rushmore because I guess you could say he started it. Not that he actually started it, but
mainstreamed it. Yeah.
Craze. It was him and the domino fell, and then it was Stallone. Right. Stallone didn't do it like he did, but just up looking like, alpha male kind of concept look came from those guys, back then.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about him.
All right, well, we'll put him on his own Mount Rushmore. It's in year 4.
I was about to say, but Schwarzenegger is one that does a lot of things just in general. I mean, he's an actor, bodybuilder, and he was the governor, right?
He needs to find a hobby and stick with it. Like
for real. He needs to stick with something.
The Terminator, the Governator, the Waitinator. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Just stay lifting, stay acting, or stay being governing. Like, it's pick a lane, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Unless Luke, did you have any other questions about bodybuilding and everything? Because I wanted to start moving up to like the podcast and everything like that.
Yeah, I'm good with moving on to the pod.
Let's do it then. So, Greg, we know you have your podcast, and I'm sure it's about bodybuilding and everything like that. So, what I would like you to explain is the name of it, what kind of guests you have on. Do you have co-hosts like we do? Things of that nature.
So the name is Bodybuilding 365. So kind of a mouthful, but straightforward. I technically don't have a co-host, but the last few episodes I've had the same guys on just from the gym who are my friends. They've probably combined been on like 6-7 times together. Mm-hmm. But I've had some other guys, just basically all my friends, and then I started a whole nother series of like kind of like the science behind some trends or just some things in general, and that's with actually a physiotherapist who's out of Las Vegas actually. So starting that, there's only 1 episode, but I definitely want to start doing more. But like you said, it's obviously talking about bodybuilding, whether it be news, some random trends going on, or just us talking and just kind of shooting the shit with random questions. So it's definitely not all serious. I do definitely bring some dumb questions in here and just try to have a laugh and make it more about just knowing the person behind the bodybuilder rather than, because Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or more so TikTok and Instagram, it's like hard to gain a feel of who the person is if you just see them grunting, pressing weight. So thank God for like YouTube with the podcasts and everything and their own kind of vlogs. That kind of brings it to light. But I do have to mention I did start this whole thing because of the guy who owns Hostile that I mentioned earlier. He has a podcast that's probably the most popular in bodybuilding community. And I kind of modeled it after that with the news and everything. So that definitely was a direct inspiration to me making it. But yeah.
How many episodes you got currently right now?
I want to say we've done 13 or 14.
Okay, nice.
So, yeah.
What were they like in person or were they on Zoom? How do you like to work it?
They were on Zoom. I definitely want to move over to doing it in person for some of them. But I need to get another mic or two, and then like a whole different setup or addition to the setup just to make it easier. But as you probably know, you guys know, it's a whole process, learning process.
Yeah, I say huge process, but like it's kind of like easy to learn too. So you'll get it. You're gonna get it. But yeah, that's awesome, dude. So what did you say when you started it? Like, what year did you start it up?
So this past year, actually. So it was probably, I did the first one when I was still at home. So it had to be end of fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was probably around Christmas time, I'm guessing, or towards that time. I don't even remember actually, but it was this year. And then I did everything in my room, actually, same spot like we're in now.
Yep.
And then when I went to school, thank God I had a single room. So I did a few episodes there, and then came back and did a few more here. But it was, my goal was to try to just do like one a week, because schedule wise, obviously it's hard with, I'm a 22-year-old kid that just goes to school, and the other two guys have jobs. So it's kind of hard to maneuver everything.
Yeah. Now,
sure.
One of my favorite videos you did, it's not a pod, but it's a vlog. Tell us about your 10,000 calorie day, because I was telling Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds miserable, but tell us about that a little bit.
So this is when the boringness of quarantine came into play, and I'm watching like all these guys do like 10,000, sometimes even 20,000 calorie challenges, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm eating like 5,000 right now every day. I could probably just push it. So one day I tell my parents, I'm like, and Kayla, I'm like, I think I'm gonna do this tomorrow. So I start planning out like what I'm going to eat, this and that. My dad's like, I'll do it with you, just to like have somebody to do it with.
Just to keep
yeah. And this was like probably my like second or third YouTube video. So I was even more amateur than I am now. And I was like, all right, I'm going to vlog it, do this and that. So we started off with like IHOP pancakes, biscuits, French toast, milkshake. So that's like 2,000 something calories. Then we go smash burgers, which is like 3,000, which that was easy to eat somehow. And then, yeah. And then dinner was Pizza Uno's entire pepperoni pizza, and then a Talenti ice cream. And I think it was like 10,200 and something calories. My dad, he like had half the pizza and was like, nah, I'm good.
I'm tapped them out.
Yeah. But definitely, if I did it, I'm probably going to do it again at some point. I'll probably like break it up, not big, like 3 big meals. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. It definitely had to force some food down towards the end with the pizza, just because it was just so much chewing. So that's really the worst part. But with looking at these videos, you learn like, don't drink a lot of water, don't have XYZ before 6 p.m. because you're just going to just fall asleep and be sluggish. But I was like, give me the burgers, give me the sodium, give me the freaking whatever. I'll just milkshakes and everything. I'll eat it.
How would your dad respond to how he did with it? How would he feel afterwards?
I think he was out for the count for a day or two, but he almost 8,000 calories. So
he did well. It's not like he only ate breakfast and was out. And Frank, if you don't know, again, well, if anything, I'll try to throw a picture of Mr. Dahl on here somewhere, just of him flexing. He's in phenomenal shape for a man in his 50s. So let's not, we won't discredit that.
Yeah, it's funny. We always make a joke because he's 57, and every time we're in the gym, like, then I'm like, oh, what's up, man? How you doing? They go, sorry, how old are you? Like, that's the first thing they ask him. Like, oh, sorry, I hope you don't mind. How old are you?
Yeah.
Like, wow, man. It's like,
yeah, he's in very good shape, Frank, and it's funny because it's also a really cool dynamic for Gregory. I can imagine that like his passion for baseball then kind of folded over into lifting, and his dad followed suit. Like, again, his dad is by no means doing what Gregory's doing, but at the same time, he's lifting with him. He's helping how he can. And it's not like he doesn't want to be there. Like, he's actually enjoying it, which is a really cool thing. You know, not all of our parents like our passions, which isn't a problem, but it's good to know your dad can put up some big weight too. And, you know, I always get a kick out of it too when your dad's trying to get you to muscle up another rep, or, you know, whatever it is. I mean, he's just got to spot him, you know.
I don't know how he does it. He's still doing like 90-pound like shoulder press and crazy stuff like this. I'm like, and he has messed up shoulders. I'm like, how do you even?
He has really bad shoulders, and he's still just like putting it up, and it's like, God bless you. Thank you for your
don't change anything.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So YouTube videos, and Luke, you said he does vlogs as well on YouTube and whatnot, like all different kinds of videos and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I didn't do too much. It was more podcast wise, but I tried to follow suit with, like, you know, how to vacuum, day in the life of eating, how I'm cutting, 5 tips to whatever.
Gregory, tell him what vacuuming is.
Oh, yes. That makes sense. All right.
Great watching you
how to vacuum. Yeah.
Like,
how to vacuum.
Literally what I thought.
Plug it in.
For a sec.
Step 1, plug it in. No.
How to vacuum.
So basically, vacuuming is. So it's like if you're doing a crunch, you're going to breathe all the air out and try and just squeeze as hard as you can. And then the cue is to like bring your belly button to your spine. And that creates like if this is your chest, it's going to go here, then you're going to go in. That's going to be like, it's called a vacuum because you're sucking in, but you're really having no air in your stomach or in your lungs.
Yeah.
So it's like, just like tips, tricks how to do that. And that's like my one trick pony kind of thing. So, that makes sense why I should have explained that a little further. But
it's not only Frank, it would have been everyone. Everyone's like, yo, Gregory's a fucking vacuumer. Sick.
Yeah.
Like,
this guy knows vacuuming ASMR videos.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Plug it in.
You also got some fame on TikTok as well, which I want to talk about. I actually am pretty jealous about this because I was on a TikTok kick trying to get viral and everything like that when quarantine first started. I was like, all right, what are we going to do today? Editing a bunch of videos. So I'll be honest with you. I didn't even believe it at first until I saw you on Jimmy Fallon. You started the blinding lights dance on TikTok, you and your friends. So props to you. A big round of applause for that. That is absolutely amazing. That's kind of like right when I downloaded TikTok, and that's all I was seeing.
Probably our first famous guest. Like famous guest up to this point. One of our only famous guests.
Oh, like, right. Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations.
But when Luke told me that, I was like, no freaking way. Like, this is freaking awesome.
And I told him this a while ago, and I think he forgot and like shut his brain off with it because, again, when I tell you Frank was on a TikTok bender, like he was on a mission. Like TikTok was Frank was conquering it.
It was definitely a surprising few days when we posted it, but kind of with a backstory. It was so in I guess that was my junior year. So we lived in an on-campus apartment with 5 single rooms. So I had 4 of the roommates, and basically 3 of us were up. It was like probably 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning on like a Tuesday night or something random. And we're like, the song just came out, and we're like singing and dancing, and then me and the kid Adam on my right of the video, we like did like 2 dances in a row, like at the same time, just randomly the same exact ones in like sync. We like both stopped, got our other roommate, and then just started, and other 2 roommates to one to record, and we were like, let's just keep blasting this song on like our 6-foot like JBL speaker to annoy our roommate and just make it dance. And because like we were kind of known just doing like stupid stuff, like staying up late. We were just like just making stupid skits. And we're like, all right, let's do this. So we're choreographing, and it was like I did the first 2 moves. Then like the kid on my right did like the last 2 or 3, and I was like, all right, let's jump at the end for some reason. And so we started doing it. We messed up a few times, and we were like, all right, start the floor and just go up. So we do the whole thing, do the whole dance. And at first we just all posted on like the school's student feed. So like everybody gets a message, like new video, and like the whole school gets like that message and looks at it. And we post on Instagram, and then like whatever, nothing happens, a few laughs here and there. And then I get TikTok probably a month in when it starts getting big. And then we're like, we should probably like just gonna post it, because like I have 6 followers. Like, all right, whatever, let's see what happens. So I post it, and it starts like I keep refreshing my feed, and I'm like, guys, come over here. They run over. I'm like, look at this. I keep refreshing, and it's like 100 likes, 60 followers, 100 likes, 30 comments, and then that happens, and like we gain probably 10,000 followers in the first night, and we're like, what the hell? And then we end up getting just under 8 million views and like just under 800,000 likes, and like we go just getting all these random DMs of like, oh, like all these marketing stuff, like, oh, like do this, like, we're gonna sponsor you, do this thing for like a dating app, do this thing for whatever. And then people started doing it, and it's like you said, Frank, it's like you're scrolling through, all you hear is dun, 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 dun. All you hear is the blinding lights thing over and over and over and over and over. And we see all these celebrities doing it. We're like, oh my God, like that's our dance. Yeah. And the funny thing was like, because towards the end of the video, I don't know if you guys caught it, the roommate all the way to the right, he backs up into the chair. So that chair is like marked into the sound. So if we're listening to somebody else's TikTok, and if we hear that's the chair being hit, we're like, that's our sound. That's our sound.
Right.
So it's like, yeah. So it's like kind of like a special mark. We're like, oh, that's cool. That's ours.
Yeah, you like watermarked it in a sense, but audio version of it. Right.
Yeah.
That must have been a surreal moment, to be honest with you, seeing celebrities do it and everything like that. And I say this to a bunch of people on the podcast too, but you know, it's one thing to like try to get clout or try to get some followers, try to get some likes by copying another person's trend or doing a trend that's popular now. There's not a better feeling than starting the actual trend that a whole bunch of other people are going to do. That's like the total opposite of what a lot of people do on TikTok. You know, they're not the ones starting the trend. They're copying a trend. So that must have been a sick feeling alone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is incredible. And when you went on Jimmy Fallon, what was that experience like? Was it like rehearsing the dance where you're like, oh, we better not mess up this dance and everything like that, you know?
Yeah, it was definitely it was a little stressful, but didn't need to be as stressful as we thought it was. But we went to my friend's house and just to do it there in the basement and everything, and you know, dress nice and stuff. And then we go, and there's like there's probably 6 or 7 other like creators there to do their dance, do their part. And there's like a fake Jimmy Fallon there, like just in a suit and everything, to do like the rehearsal. And they ask you questions, and then we answer them just like how we would if he was there. And then we do the dance, and like we killed it because we practiced like 10 times just like in the space. And we were like, it was hilarious because like we're there and everybody's like, oh, I've been dancing since I was 7 years old and doing it for 10 years. And it's like, I created this fantastic thing. And we're like, oh, we were just bored at 1 a.m. We're just college students. It's like,
every person's like, I'm a creative, and no shade. It's like everyone's like, I've done ballet since I was 6, and then immediately went to tap. And Gregory's like, we were just hanging. We were just bored.
Trying to piss off our roommate a little bit. It's like
it was out of spite. This is all out of spite.
It kind of sucked because we didn't really. Because you weren't in the studio, we didn't really get to talk to Jimmy Fallon. So it was kind of like, all right, guys, ready? 3, 2, 1. oh, and we're back. And then he did whatever
whoever the next person
script
was.
thing he did. Yeah. Then he was like, all right, guys, thanks. All right, guys, thanks everybody. And he's left.
Yeah.
We're like, okay. Well, I mean, in the end, who cares? We were on the Jimmy Fallon show. So
yeah. And this is something cool that's kind of the fame. The fame is nice, but like for you, it was never the main focus. But this is all really just like you had said. It's really just cool. It's a cool experience. It's really nice for you to get that platform, to get it out there. And like you said, now you can always kind of remember something. And I mean, let's not also discredit the fact that they did Party or Dance at the Super Bowl. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, yes, it was the Weeknd's music that he was playing, but the step is you. So there were certain parts of the choreography that were in the actual performance that I'm sitting there like,
yeah. Everybody was looking. They're like, we were sitting there because there was like a little watch party because obviously it's Super Bowl. We're like, if they do the dance, we're calling a lawyer right now. Because we're trying to get some money.
Yeah, they did the little leg thing, and I think that was basically it. But I was like, that's good enough, kind of a thing.
But like you said, it was cool to see this, like, even like healthcare workers, firefighters doing it during the pandemic. We're like, damn, like, even it's so stupid. It's like they're getting like TikTok is their release, and they're doing our dance out of all the dances they could have done. But it's like, wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's really crazy. And I mean, I'd also tell you to kind of speak on a moment. You don't have to go into details or specifics or anything, but Fallon's cool, TikTok's cool. Was there another cool thing that happened when this all came about, or
Yeah. So mid quarantine in the summer, I get a call, and it just says like a random number. So I'm thinking it's like a scam or a spam call. So whatever. Hello, yeah, hi. This is Greg. I'm like, yeah. Who's this? They said some consulting company, and I was like, oh yeah. What's the purpose of the call? And they're like, oh, we want to have your dance on a video game, and we just want to make sure we're talking to the right person. So I'm like freaking out because right away you're thinking, oh, is it this? Is this? And then give the email, give my phone number again, and then like we start chatting. He's like, oh yeah, it's for Fortnite Epic Games. They want to have you in the game. And I was like, oh. So I only texted like 5-6 people because I was like, if this doesn't work out, I don't want to look dumb. And be like, oh, this kid was lying. But I told the guys who did the dance, they're like, hold on, there's no way. And I'm like, here's the emails, here's this and that, here's whatever. And then probably 2 months down the road, we were in the game. And that's the one emote I bought. I had to buy it. Yeah, we're in the game.
Yeah.
It's crazy. That
is completely awesome. That's so sick. I'm like so jealous that you were able to get all this done. It really is incredible. But good for you, man. I'm really happy for you. For you guys in that instance, creating that dance just from having fun. That's the best part about it.
Yeah.
Frank's like, oh, I'm so like, he's like freaking out. He's like, oh no, like I'm so happy for you guys. Like as soon as he's off screen, mother.
Yeah.
Mom, get the camera now.
Right.
Let's go.
Yeah. Oh man.
So I got like a couple other questions for you. I want to talk about the field that you're studying in school and everything like that. Just a couple of questions about that, and then we actually have a newish segment that we'd like to get into with you towards the end of the podcast. So would you like to explain what you're studying in school? I know you're planning on becoming a doctor, but like exactly what medical field and everything like that?
So actually, I just finished my first semester for physiotherapy to become a doctor. So one baby step.
Yeah. Nice.
So I got three more years.
Okay.
Yeah. I was under the well, Luke.
I said you're almost done. Don't worry.
Yeah. Right. What made you get into that field? Like, obviously, because you were working out and everything like that. I'm sure that was a big part of it, right?
That, and actually, baseball was the original one because I had some shoulder, elbow problems, and of course, I went to physiotherapy. And then seeing that, I was like, I can just do these exercises and get a massage and start to feel better. I'm like, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I was obviously younger, but I was like, that's kind of crazy to me. Where in 6 weeks I can get better and go back to playing.
Right.
So with ankle, with the shoulder, with forearm, with et cetera, I was like, each time I got injured or was around that setting, I was like, I think this is what I want to go into. But and it's not easy, definitely not easy.
No.
But I think in the end it's going to be worth it. So,
and I mean, the great thing about it too, obviously, you never want to say something is great for a paycheck, right? But at the end of the day, it's a great paying job, you know, and that's a great bonus, and it's something solidified, right? Like you're gonna need physical therapists because people are always gonna get hurt. I mean,
that's what I always tell people.
Yeah, and you know the other great thing about it too is that you don't have to necessarily be on the front lines of injuries. You know, like with doctors, and you know, not to say that's not an amazing profession because 100% it is, and we've learned that with the pandemic, but it is nice to be hands off more where you're helping someone's recovery, not fighting for a life, which again, not to discredit, but it's like, you know, there's a lot of negativity towards that just because you're dealing with so much, obviously, pain and heartache and things like that. So it's probably a little bit nicer to be like, all right, well, we got to fix your hip, you know, instead of actually having to operate on it or whatever it might be, you know?
Yeah, it's very, I mean, there's obviously very different. You can be home care, you can be in a hospital, but post surgery, just to get them out of bed, which is extremely low intensity. But I've been in like the outpatient regular clinic. People have, you know, just go in and you leave, regular outpatient clinic that everybody usually goes to, and it's like they have, you know, Family Feud on or a movie on, and they're just having fun while also helping people. So it's like very relaxed, but also scientific field that's very people really don't call us doctors for some reason, so that's kind of the beef we have with everybody else. But it's like, because if you see, it's eventually Gregory Dahl DPT. Well, it's not like Donuts Physical Therapy, it's Doctor of Physical Therapy. So it's like, it's just one of those things, man.
They got to give you some love. That's nonsense.
I know. All the money we put into this.
Alrighty. So I'll say, as far as that is, good luck with everything. I know you're going to do great. You know, you're determined with everything else. I'm sure you're going to be even more determined with this as a profession and everything like that. And I think you're going to go far, man. Good for you, dude.
Yeah, 3 years down the line, we'll have him as a physical therapist, like a doctor of physical therapy. You know, then we'll have you as an actual, you know, a doctor solidified, and we'll call you doctor on the podcast.
Yeah. I'll have to change my name on Zoom to Doctor Dahl.
Doctor, correct? Yes. Make your middle name Gregory. Just shift everything down and put Doctor as your first name.
Yeah.
That's the way to go about it.
All right, guys. So we're going to move on to a new segment that we done last episode, and we're going to do it with you now today. And it's a little thing we like to call what's going on in that picture or video. So we did some digging. We did some research. We got a couple of pictures here, and we would like you to explain what's going on in this picture and video. Are you down for the challenge?
I'm very down. I think Luke knows my creative mind might have some fun here.
All right. I am going to share the screen real quick. Can we see it? Can we all see here?
Oh, yeah.
All right, cool. So what's going on here? It looks like you're about to swan dive into a pile over there, but I'll have you explain.
So this was actually my junior year of high school, and we won the state sectional and we were going to the state championship. So this is me running in from left field and just kind of like an airplane like this. And then last second I didn't dive because I was like, I'll probably injure somebody. So I just kind of did like a little flop there. But I came in like from left field, just airplaning it after we won. So yeah, fun times.
Awesome feeling, and what a great picture to make it seem like you were about to just jump right in there, you know?
Yeah.
Do you have a pilot's license by any chance?
I should actually no. That was totally illegal right there. What I did.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. We'll be reporting you after this, but that's its own issue. We'll deal with that.
Right. All right, we're gonna move on to picture number 2 that we got. Oh, all right. So it looks like it could have been a rough night out. I don't know what the deal's going on here, but go ahead, Greg. Explain to me here.
I don't even fit in that shirt anymore. This is old. This is probably. I remember I made a meme out of this actually. I think it was something where it had to be with something Kayla was eating, and I was probably about dieting, and I was like, "Yeah, no carbs for me." And then I don't know what's going on with my hair there, but that was pre-gel in the hair.
There's a 90% chance that we're eating some type of breakfast sandwich related item, and Gregory came in and was like, "How dare you eat anything related to a bagel?"
Yeah.
In my
what is bread?
Yeah, right now. So I think there might have also, there's a good chance that there was a donut in the mix, and we're like, "Gregory, do you want?" And we probably didn't even get it out before he was like,
No.
Oh, you know what I probably said? My body's a temple. I definitely did say that.
Probably what it was.
That's a go-to right there.
And this is when the table in the kitchen, Gregory, is the island. It's not against the wall.
Yes.
So this was 2019, I think. So this was a while ago, back in the day. The gains didn't fully kick in yet, but this is probably one of the lightest points of your life, right?
Yeah, this is probably like 185, 190 right here. I thought it was big.
I would probably even say maybe lighter. There's a good chance that you were lighter.
Yeah, my legs were super small there. Jeez.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to picture number 3. All right.
Yes.
So I'm assuming this is when you did the challenge on YouTube, correct? Or was this a totally different night?
This is a different pizza. Yeah.
Different pizza.
Yeah, different pizza. This is actually
Uno to you, Frank. My God.
That's actually I had the same one yesterday. Ralph's Pizzeria in Nutley.
So
yeah.
Frank.
Barstool 8.9.
8.9 on President's rating.
Oh, really?
It's whenever we go back up to Kayla's house, or if we're in the area, I try to get her every time to go because it is fantastic.
Yeah. This is
now,
actually I remember.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I remember my mom across and to the left of me and Kayla in front of me, and I just put my camera right in front of Kayla, and I was like, "Just give me a second." And I did the timer, and I was like,
didn't even ask Kayla to take the picture. Like, I'm taking this. Watch out.
Yeah. I was like, watch out. Yeah.
Was this a pizza pie just for yourself here? Was this like, yep, this is mine. Yeah. I'm conquering.
Yeah, that was all mine. Just like yesterday, I was like, sometimes you just got to do it.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to send it for sure.
And really quickly, I guess you could also probably explain the fact that if you're eating the way you are allowed to have cheat days as well. So if you want to tell the people of the audience, you are allowed to have cheat days.
You're maybe not this extravagant, but when I do this, I try to do it like a planned cheat meal.
Yep.
So like I'll do it before a body part where I want to get bigger. So like today I had chest, so I had left 2 slices in the box, so I had that much for the next day. Just extra food in my body, just extra fuel, et cetera, just to put into that body part. And as long as it doesn't, mess with your stomach, stuff like that. Like I've definitely ruled out some foods like that, but I don't want to go back into it. But it's definitely doable. It's not like you have to eat like a dog, as the term, which I should probably explain too. Every day, which is like when the terms use like eat like a dog, if you have a dog, you feed them every day at whatever 4 o'clock or whatever it is, and whatever, just like we eat every 2.5, 3 hours at the most. So It's like eat like a dog, because it's the same thing every day.
The same thing, like you said, it's like the same meal too. So like
yeah.
You don't have to live that lifestyle of I eat at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. and I only eat chicken and rice. It's like, you can change that up occasionally.
Yeah. It's all, I mean, especially in mine, I'm not a professional or even an amateur bodybuilder. So if worst case is sidetracks me a day, okay, well, whatever, it's a day, but I'm lucky that it won't. So,
Yep.
I'm assuming that spicy food is off the menu for you, or no?
Not really. I mean, I go towards spicy like sauces and condiments, just to kind of supplement that. But I'll definitely dabble in some spicy foods from here and there.
You want to give us your quick breakdown of a meal in the life of Gregory right now. It's a bad day to be a meal. Gregory Dahl wakes up at 6 a.m. What is getting destroyed on the table today?
Well, breakfast is the big one. Breakfast is probably 900 calories or around there, and it's 2 eggs, 140 grams, which is a good amount of egg whites, and then we'll do 50 grams of cream of rice, which is like it's like oatmeal, but it's not. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
And I'll put some peanut butter, protein, collagen, creatine in that. And then I'll put the eggs and stuff on a sandwich with some butter and ketchup, and then just go to town on that. So it's pretty dense, but you get used to it.
My God bless.
All right, we're gonna move on to our next picture here. So this one I put side by side here. I love the comparison here.
Yeah.
So how old were you there to the left, and how old were you on the right side of the picture?
So right side was quarantine also. So that was probably like a July or June or something like that.
Okay.
On the left, I was really young, probably like 8 or something, probably 8 or 9. I guess.
Here, ask your mom right now. She'll know.
I don't even know where she is. I probably should, but
Bill.
yeah. That flannel was like my dad's like pool shirt, and I guess I wanted to wear it with my SpongeBob outfit with that old table there. And I was like, yeah, let me just take a photo. And I was like going through some old albums in the back one random day with my mom, and I was like, I want to recreate this. Go get that thing. Go get the flannel. I was like, yeah. It's like, all right, here we go. And I think I posted on Instagram too. But
yeah, you did. I believe your caption was, "I could still fit in those SpongeBob shorts."
yeah. Oh man, I forgot about this actually.
Yeah, this is also this is almost like one of those old TikTok trends as well, where like you recreate a picture when you're all older, and then it'll switch over to a picture when you were younger.
Yeah, it's like a time warp thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Or morph, I think it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Those are cool as well. So I like this little comparison here that you did. That's why I wanted to add it in there. All right, let's move on to the next one. Now, these are two separate times here. Obviously, from what you're wearing, but they're both very similar in the fact that you're carrying some pretty heavy stuff while you're walking up a mountain, it seems.
Yeah, the one on the left was my first Spartan race in Tuxedo, New York. And I think it's called the Sprint, which is, I think it's like 4 miles or 4 to 5 miles. It's like that's like the beginner or first tier. And that was like just like the bucket carry, and that wasn't too bad, that one there. This one on the right was in Pennsylvania at like a ski resort, and that one was rough. That was, I think it's called the Super, which is the second tier, and that's like 9 to 11 miles or something. So that took me like 4.5 hours. And man, this was the sandbag carry. I'm going up right now, but you eventually had to go down. So you go up and down a whole slope. And on the way down, I remember I was like, I'll do like a little jog or something. And I got too much steam, and I just started sliding. And I was like, all right, I'm not going too fast. So I'm sliding. And I'm like, oh, I'm going really fast and like towards the edge. So like I popped my foot, and I just like skyrocket up with a 50-pound sandbag. and everybody's like cheering, like they think I'm killing it because I'm going fast down this hill, and I'm like, I'm not doing well right now.
I'm
And
gonna
like,
die.
no, like, yeah, I was like worried. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be one of those dudes. And like I like skyrocket up and I catch myself and just like scrape my leg, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna go slow this time. Just gonna keep going slow. But because there's people like me, like normal people doing it, and people that are like training for this as their
Yep.
like, they have sponsors and stuff like that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm just here to just survive and just do this thing. But it was definitely fun, but probably won't be doing it in the future.
Yeah.
No.
If you could recall, how heavy was that sandbag there that you were carrying?
I want to say 40 or 50 pounds. And I think the same, maybe 30 or 40 with that bucket on the left. But
Okay.
The bucket was
yeah.
probably harder to carry.
Well, yeah, because the bucket they say you can't put on your shoulder because that would be too easy.
Yeah.
So you're just either that or your hands under. And man, the one on the right when I did the bucket there, that like took everybody like 20 minutes, and it was like 60 yards down and then 60 yards up. And it's just like that one was, man, I tell people like, I probably crawled half a mile just in total of everything, because sometimes I'm like, I'm saving my legs, I'm crawling because it's so steep like this. I'm like, why am I going to do this?
Yeah.
So I'm like, you just go crazy dirty, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
Big
props to you on both of these that you did here. It definitely takes a lot of work for sure, I would assume.
Oh yeah, that's a good saying.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next picture we got, which is actually our last one. This here. You got an interesting face
Nice.
you got going on there.
Facial hairless Greg right there. That's probably sophomore year, moving into college.
I thought that was your freshman year. I think this is your freshman year.
Maybe it was freshman year. Yeah, actually, it probably is freshman. No, actually, no, it wasn't, because I didn't have that hat yet. That was mid-year.
Maybe.
So
accurate.
Yeah, because yeah. That's bad that I know that. But yeah, that was moved in everything. I think Luke was there too. And then this was started sophomore year, and yeah, it all went downhill from there.
There is a rumor that Kayla does not smell that great. Is that why you're making the face? Is that
I had to wash that arm a few times after, let's just say.
I could only imagine, as someone that lives with her, I can attest to the smell being up there with some of the worst.
She's probably banging on that door right now saying,
I think she's out, unless she can hear me. But if you see a laser pointer just start like coming on my face at any point, it's I am.
All right, and that'll do it for our segment of what's going on in that picture. We didn't have any videos here, but we had pictures. So there is that. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen now, and there we go.
Thank you for participating in our segment. We appreciate it.
Of course. I expected it to be like random photos, not photos of me. So I was like, oh, creativity. Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's me.
Like we're literally gonna be doctors. Gregory, what does this photo make you feel like?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like,
no. All right. That's pretty much what I had for you. What about you, Luke? You got anything else you want to cover with them?
I mean, before we get into just like plug in everything that you have obviously on your end, kind of just providing the info, I would just say, well, first off, thank you, obviously. But if you want to tell anyone, we made it seem like all you do is your schoolwork and lift. So is there any other hobbies that you have? What are your other hobbies? What do you do? Just so people don't think this guy's a robot and he only does, 2 things.
So primarily I do just do those things, especially now. But lately with Kayla's work, with what she does, like just photography, videography, I randomly started getting into kind of branching off vlogs from YouTube. So that's kind of become like a side hobby, side business. So between that, as you guys know, editing takes a while, so that takes up a lot of time. Studying takes up time. I've been studying like 8 hours a day for the last four weeks. So been pretty busy with that, but yeah, it's right now I'm fortunate that I can just say my job is school and I also work out on the side. So, but hopefully I want to do other things in the future, of course, because I don't want to do this my whole life. So,
and you won't. You'll be able to do other stuff, but it's a small sacrifice to be able to have the luxury of taking those breaks down the line.
Yeah.
All right, man. If you want, plug in where people could find you on social media, YouTube, all that stuff.
So probably I think it's the exact same for everything, or actually for Instagram, it would be Greg Dahl with 2 L's. So GregDahl. And then TikTok would be, I think, just Greg Dahl 7. Greg Dahl 7. But worst case, if you go on my Instagram, I have a link tree there and it'll show everything on there. YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that. So, but I appreciate you guys having me on. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun talking about everything. So
yeah,
appreciate it.
I learned a lot too. I'm one of the furthest from knowing anything about the bodybuilding and the competitions and anything like that. So I appreciate you explaining all that to me.
Of course, yeah.
And of course, we're gonna put all your socials. I'll put the link of your link tree in the description below in the video as well for our audience here to check out.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, Greg, thanks once again for joining us on this episode. We'll have you on a future episode. Maybe we'll talk about other stuff as well. And we'll just go from there. Luke, thank you for joining me as always as well.
Of course, thank you, Gregory. Thank you for coming on, bud.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
And guys, if you like this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And also follow us on Instagram at Podcast with Frank. I'll be posting clips of this podcast among other projects that I'm working on for you to check out. Facebook and Twitter at Frank Videos. And we're also on TikTok as well at Frank Videos as well, _Frank Videos. But like I said before, that'll all be in the description as well. And with all that being said, have a great night and peace out.
Would you say college has changed you?
100%. I think you can vouch for that too.
Well, I can vouch for that. I can vouch for that. I did some snooping around for research, right? And I found something in your room. Some digging. I actually have it right here. Could you explain what this is?
That is not in my room. Get the fuck out of here.
Look at what I found in her room, everybody.
That is not in my... First of all, for everyone's record...
Wait. We got some shake right here.
It's that grade A dank.
Grade A dank.
Afghan Kush.
It was
literally
easy to find.
Shut the fuck up.
It was easy to find too.
Literally
It
got
was
from the Taliban.
smelling in the room. It was
Shut the fuck
smelling
up.
in
It
the room.
smells wild. I would put
does.
this on a pizza in 30 seconds. I don't know where you got that.
So please explain to me where is this coming from, huh?
Your room?
No, I don't smoke anymore.
Was
Me
it crispy?
either.
Dusals?
Yeah,
Where'd
tell
you
me.
get it?
Dusals.
Dusals?
Dusals?
You got it from Dusals?